Hello, peace seekers. This is Saniqua White popping in to give you a piece of my mind that will hopefully give you some peace of mind. And we are still in my series, Coaching the Called, and we are talking about the survey in which I put out to my clients and others to get some feedback from the called. Now, this question is a doozy. It's going to be for you, and it was for them in the survey. And the question is, do you now or have you ever struggled with a mental health issue? Now, I expect all kinds of answers when I ask this question, and I also expect people to kind of clam up a bit and not be as free as they might want to be when answering this question. So I'll tell you some of the responses that I got from my clients as well as others who were surveyed. And it was varied as usual. It was varied. There were many that talked about having struggled with mental health issues throughout their lives. Some have said that, it was kind of spotty, maybe here and there, like they would go in and out, whereas others have just almost had a constant or consistent struggle throughout their lives. And the main, probably 3 or 4 topics of mental health concern were depression, anxiety, trauma, and grief. And there are, of course, other things here and there, but those were the main 4, and that's to be expected, because those are kind of what you expect when you think about mental health and the reasons why people will go to therapy or seek therapy or probably need to, even if they hadn't. I'm finding within the called group that I work with, which again is they're influencers, what we would now call influencers, but to take that a little bit deeper, it would be your creative artists, your singers, your dancers, your composers, your stylists, and so on and so forth. It would also be, for me, inclusive of ministers of the gospel. Of course, your athletes, and then also social media influencers or any other influencer with a platform. Someone who would be giving you information, presenting their gifts to you from a stage, from the camera, from the spotlight of some sort. So these are who I call the called, and you could just generally call them influencers. But most of the people that I work with, and I'm a mental health professional, so yes, of course, most of the people that I work with would have suffered or are suffering from some type of mental health concern right now or in the past that we're trying to work through. But also, I'm finding with the clients that I coach, because when in coaching, we're not working with a diagnosis, we're not working with a mental health disorder or concern in that moment. We're working from one place to get you going to the next. But even with my coaching clients, I'm finding that either I'm having to refer them back to therapy, or they've already been through some sort of professional treatment before they got to me. And so it is not uncommon for influencers or the call to have struggled with mental health issues or to be currently struggling with them. And I dare say that if you don't get those things together, if you don't work on the things that are bothering you from the past, and you try to ignore the things that are going on currently in your life, you're going to get to a place in your career and on your platform where everybody is going to get to see you crash if you do not do this work ahead of time. And that is one of the main reasons that I am now coaching, is to get the word out there to the called and to any influencer who has a platform or aspires to a platform, to do your mental prep work behind the scenes, off camera, before you get to that place where it's going to catch up to you. It is. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But before you get to that place where it catches up to you and the spotlight is on you, you have all these fans and followers. Some people have literally been on stage on their platform, probably drunk or high or something, and crashed. So what I'm asking anybody who is within the sound of my voice watching this video, if you know that there are things that you are trying to run from, you are trying to sweep under the rug, you are trying to ignore, you are trying to pretend like it doesn't exist or that you're over it when you know you're really not, please stop. Get the help that you need. It exists. There is no judgment. You don't have to fear. Now, you do have to be careful of who you acquire, who you hire as your professional. You do have to be careful of that. Make sure you do your research. But there is no shame in you doing this work. And I would ask that you do it behind the scenes, off camera. You can talk about it on your platform, but you don't have to, people don't have to experience your crash and burn moment to get the point. They really don't. And that's what I'm asking you to do for yourself so that you don't hurt yourself any further. Okay? So anyway, back to our regular scheduled program. Do you have, or have you in the past struggled with any mental health concern? Even if you feel like you've gotten through it, that is wonderful. If you've sought help, I am so proud of you. I'm so glad that you did that. But you can always have a mental health checkup where to make sure you don't have any triggers from those past things that going forward on your platform, something kind of triggers you and you get a little tripped up and you get a little sidetracked. You can always have a mental health checkup because some of the things that you've experienced, your memory is not wiped out because you got treatment and you're doing well and you're healed. Healing doesn't mean that you've forgotten what you've been through. Healing does not mean that there are no triggers or things that you might see and come across in your path that might not give you kind of a little, ooh, I felt that. That doesn't mean you're not healed. That just means, whoa, there's still a little something there. And a lot of people that I work with in this called arena, they work in the field of their pain. They have their platform basically built on what they were struggling with because they have the experience there. So sometimes, even though you're working in that area, there can come a nuance or a thing that you thought was gone and you're working with or talking about something and it kind of hits a nerve, hits a chord for you. So that doesn't mean you're not healed. That just means you ran into a little piece of it that's still a little sensitive. So you can always have a mental health checkup. I'm not asking you these questions to beat you down. I'm asking you these questions so that you can be aware. So awareness, the knowledge of something doesn't mean that it's bad or you're in trouble or you didn't heal or anything like that. It's just an awareness, and you have to be aware. You need to be aware so that you know, hey, ooh, that kind of struck a chord or struck a nerve. I might need to go, have a little checkup and make sure I'm good to go forward. Because what you don't want to do is ignore those little twinges. Because enough of those ignorances, if that's a word, if you ignore that long enough, you might find yourself in trouble because now you're pretending that it doesn't exist when it really does. Okay? So name your struggle. If you are struggling, name it. My pastor, Dr. Regina Spellman, always says if you can't name it, you won't heal from it, because that means basically you're ignoring it. You can't conquer something you won't confront. Okay? So name it so you can heal from it, so you can conquer it by confronting it. Okay? So I hope this video is helpful. If it is, give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you will get the upcoming videos. If you would like to comment, I would love to hear from you, especially with these questions that I surveyed with. If this is ringing a bell or hitting something for you, please comment. I will respond. I will drop some things in the description box, or maybe even in the comment, for you to go and start getting a little bit more information. But I will be back soon with more content. If you, again, remember to subscribe and hit the notification button. Until I am back, be proactive about your mental health. Be well, and God bless.